Welcome to the art and science of difficult conversations. I'm Chris.
And I'm Lucy, and we love having difficult conversations.
That's right. And each week we'll either share a tip, hear how others have gotten better at difficult conversations, or demonstrate common difficult conversations and what to do and what not to do.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to the final special compilation episode of Season 1 of the Art and Science of Difficult Conversations podcast. Today's episode will give you a deeper understanding of what not to do and what to do instead in difficult conversations with friends and family. In the first roleplay, you'll hear how to respond to a friend who broke your trust. The second roleplay addresses a scenario that might happen to any of us. How to talk to an aging parent about accepting additional care. In the third roleplay, you'll explore dealing with a friend who tries to guilt trip you into hanging out more. And lastly, we focus on a conversation between tired parents of young children about keeping the house clean. Now, this is our final episode of Season 1. But our podcast still continues. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss our first episode of Season 2, where we'll give tips on how to ask for a raise and roleplay a few scenarios around this. Thank you so much for listening and learning with us. That's all from me today. I hope you enjoy and benefits from today's compilation of personal relationship roleplays, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Wow, I'm really upset. Chris, can I talk with you for a moment?
Yeah, what's up, Lucy?
Like I have to really tell you something. I cannot believe, I know we work together and we are friends. And when we went to the barbecue the other Saturday, and I shared something in confidence, my relationship issues that I have. And Karen from accounting knows about it. How is it possible? And she said that you told her, it seems like the whole department now knows about my relationship issues. It's like, I cannot believe you did that to me. I feel so betrayed.
First of all, you don't have any proof that I said anything to anybody.
They told me you said it. So I think I cannot be friends with you anymore. I'm done. Sorry.
Who are you gonna believe? Wait,
I think Lucy, I'm out.
Lucy, we've been friends for a long time. Who are you gonna believe? Me or these other jokers?
So how else they could have found out? And they said literally that you were talking about it during a lunch break the other day.
I don't know. How am I supposed to know?
I don't know. Chris, that's really hurtful. Now everybody knows about it. Everybody talks behind my back about it. It's horrible.
Come on. You know me. I wouldn't do that to you.
No, I really don't know anymore whom to trust. So I think let's take a break from our friendship. Let's just not do anything.
You're just being sensitive.
Okay. Yeah.
You're just being overly sensitive about this. You know?
Wow. Yeah. Chris, just wanted to let you know, let's not do any more barbecues in the near future. I'm done.
Fine.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Whatever.
Bye. I want to say some mean word, but I filter myself here, so
that's okay. That's okay. Well, that went something. that was
something.
You really tapped into that anger.
I did. I tried to channel it.
Yeah.
And the hurt.
Yeah, it was you came in so hot. I only really had one choice, which was to deny everything.
So what are the lessons to be learned from this one? What didn't work? So what I'm hearing is I came to you in already emotionally irritated, upset, hurt state. I didn't take a break. I didn't take a pause to reflect and to calm down. But I went there fully on hurt, upset, annoyed, angry.
And I could feel it, even though that we were just doing this as a demonstration, I could feel myself getting defensive, wait. And I just automatically reverted to, I'm going to deny everything. Nope, not me. It wasn't me.
So sounds like my anger kind of creating the survival reaction for you, like the brain, right? We have different survival instinct reactions. It's like the fight, flight, freeze, please. So yours was would it be fight or like flight? It's like no, not my fault, not my fault.
Yeah, it was
I didn't
definitely
do
a
anything.
flight, just trying to. No, it wasn't me trying to escape
it.
responsibility. Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, I think that's because you're in that fight mode. You're like ready to, and that only puts me heightens my emotions too with and energy levels. So for sure, I was definitely in that survival mode.
So the lesson here, if we go into a meeting and any difficult conversation with that energy of be it aggression, anger, frustration, huge hurt, without really calming down first, then it already puts the other person into that other mode, be it fight, flight, whatever is natural for them to go into in these situations.
That's right.
And then we actually cannot have a conversation that will be productive.
Yeah.
So how did it end? I was basically upset and left upset and even more hurt. I was like, I'm done. This relationship is over. Our friendship is over. I don't want to see you anymore. And how was it for you? You're like, probably didn't feel good either.
No, it didn't. You know what's interesting is that generally we'll tell people, calm yourself down, do mindfulness or do whatever exercises, go talk to a trusted friend. What do you do when you're the person you would normally talk to is the person that did the harm to you?
Oh yeah, that's
you got to find somebody else to talk to, find somebody else that you trust to vent to, right? But yeah, like if your goal was just to vent and yell at me, then you did it, but it didn't solve the problem.
We still have the problem, exactly. So sounds like there's additional already strategy kind of being created of what to do instead. So should we go into the better mode?
Let's see it. Let's see it work play out.
All right. So let me calm down first.
Please don't yell at me.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up, Lucy?
I have something I wanted to ask you about.
Sure.
Do you have like 10 minutes?
Yeah. What's up?
Should we grab, coffee or tea? I think that's gonna help me calm down. I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah. You don't have to be nervous. You don't have to be nervous. We're friends. What's up?
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Let me have a sip of water. I think I need to calm myself down.
Oh no, should I be worried?
Don't worry. It's something so Karen from accounting somehow knows that I'm having relationship issues. And she mentioned your name. And I know we've been friends for years, not just coworkers. And it really doesn't sound like you. But that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I shared it with you in confidence, and it makes me really uncomfortable when other people know about it. Because anytime somebody mentions it, asks about it, it really brings the pain up for me. So I cannot even take a break at work from my relationship, personal issues. So it really made it challenging this week for me. I feel like I'm in constant reminder of my personal troubles, and I cannot take a break. It's really exhausting for me and painful.
Yeah. Listen, I feel bad that you're having to talk about this. Part of me I'm still wondering, like, is she sure that it was me that told her? I feel bad. Like, I know you're struggling through this stuff. I don't want you to be struggling through it. It's tough. But is she sure that I told her this?
Well, she said that during the lunch break, you guys have a conversation, and then Karen, she tells everybody else. So now the whole department knows about my relationship issues. So I wanted to make sure, if you said something, it escaped you. I guess it happens. But it's really, makes me trust you less, because then I feel I cannot share these things with you. So I don't know how to
Yeah.
move forward with this.
Oh, man, Karen. So I'll blame Karen, even though, because you're right. You're right. I did talk about it at lunch with her just because she was kind of wondering how you've been doing because, she was noticing that you weren't doing well. I didn't know she would, and I didn't say a lot of details, but I didn't know that she would start telling everybody else. Ugh, I feel terrible.
Yeah,
Ugh.
me too. Um,
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's that's messed up. That's messed up that Karen did that.
and also I know she came from, I guess, a caring spot. But sometimes she cares too much about other people's business and talks about it
Well,
and has it
I
as an
guess so.
entertainment.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't want to be like the entertainment in the office, especially when it's something that's actually hurtful to me to hear and talk about. And I really wanted to address, also that you shared it, that it's not up to Karen. We know how Karen is, but it's also the fact you actually shared it, and I know it. So I'm curious what had you share it?
All I had said was just that you were going through some relationship stuff, and it was just weighing on you, so that's why you were just seeming out of sorts. So I didn't tell any details,
Okay.
but obviously that's enough, I guess. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Let me see.
Yeah, I totally didn't realize that she would just start telling everybody else what was going on.
I guess she's really happy about it. Or I don't know what she's getting out of it, but
I don't know.
maybe she needs a distraction from her own drama, so she's happy somebody else has some problems.
I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sorry though. I don't know.
Thank you, Chris.
Is there anything I
It's
can do to make it up to you?
no, I guess. Well, thank you for not sharing any more details because I was already imagining the worst case scenario of like she knows everything. But it's we all go through it. I think I just need to um come to peace with people knowing about it. And well, Jennifer actually was really sweet and supportive, so there's something good coming out of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she shared about her problems too, and so we actually bonded and connected.
Oh,
She seems like a nice person, so
yeah.
there's
Nice.
some I guess
Nice.
I can find the good in
Huh.
this.
Do you want me to talk to Karen and get her to stop talking about this?
I don't know, but thank you for offering. Maybe I'll go and talk to her. Since
You
it's
sure?
yeah. And if I need like additional support, that both of us could go there. But I
Okay.
think I should be
Yeah.
fine. Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Again, I'm sorry. That's my fault. My bad.
Thank you. I should have also talked to her because I was kind of off and I couldn't focus at work. So it was really definitely impacting my performance at work also. So, I wish she asked me first instead of asking others.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe she needs to get better at difficult conversations.
Maybe, this is my opportunity to practice difficult conversation with her.
For sure. Yeah.
And actually ask her next time. And also for me being proactive and sharing, I know I've not been able to focus. I have something personal going on and I'm working on it, and kind of have my own conversations there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you think I should do here? I know you're a trusted friend. I usually come to you with these type of issues. So it was kind of challenging for me to come to you about this.
I know. I feel bad about that. Yeah, I don't know. I also have to make it up to you somehow over time.
Well, you can treat me for this coffee.
I guess so. Yeah, it's on me.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Alrighty. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you. All right. Well, that was better.
It was better.
You got me to
So-
stop lying eventually.
So I was still a little bit upset and hurt, but I did some things to calm myself down. I got some water,
Yes.
and it didn't come as an attack, hopefully as much as a head-on attack and
Yes.
upset.
Yes.
So what would you say helped you, supported you to actually tell the truth?
I think it was you set the stage, first of all. So I didn't, obviously, I still don't want to admit that I did something wrong, right? Not many people want to admit that.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me, but it was because you set such a calmer emotional tone throughout from the beginning. It was hard for me to get amped up and say, no, it definitely wasn't me, even though some people will. It was hard for me to get amped up and just keep lying about it. And then you just focus on the impact on you. You focused on like, it's just hurtful. It talks about this and that and this and that. And at some point, I have no choice but to feel bad because you're hurt. And we're friends, so like the context is we're friends, right? So I do care about you. It would be different if I was just a random coworker. Then you'd have to play the conversation differently. But because we're friends, you can use that previous relationship to your advantage.
So what I'm hearing is one, really my calm state. So in the previous scenario, my upset state kind of impacted you and created a similar reaction in a way, the fight and flight reaction. In this new scenario, in the other one, my calmness kind of also calmed you down. So you were feeling more safe to actually admit, yes, I did say that.
Yeah.
Without the fear that I'm gonna go after you and hurt you.
Right. I think that's a good point. Yes, I did lie at first because I was afraid obviously I'm afraid of the consequences.
Yeah.
And you had to demonstrate a little bit more and more that you were going to stay calm and you're not going to immediately attack me, but you just want to figure out what happened.
So I think that's additional distinction. In the first scenario, I basically accused you and I didn't even want to hear like anything else. Like I already judged you and sentenced you for committing the crime.
Yep.
In the second scenario, it was more for, instead of like a judgment place, coming from asking question, like what would happen? Like, this is the fact. I heard this from Karen and somebody else, everybody knows. And they said, you said it. So what is it for you? What happened?
Yeah.
I want to know. And this is the impact on me that it had. And I'm also hearing, because we were friends, not just coworkers, that me sharing more about my emotions and the impact actually also impacted you because you care.
Yes. Yeah. What about from your perspective? What did you intentionally try to do differently the second time around?
To stay calmer, to even take the sip of water. I think that also usually helps me when I have some liquid around, even just holding it.
Yep.
That's actually what calms our kind of, when we do the emotional regulation. It's not through thinking, really, it's really through our senses. So even just holding a glass of water, feeling it, the temperature, the coldness, or even just taking a sip can help us calm down a little bit. So that could be a strategy when we go into the meeting, just having something in paper or writing it down, the points on actually a piece of paper. So me just having the sip of water helped me calm down. So it was something intentional, so I don't get into that upset state. And then really trying to, instead of going and accusing you, looking that as like not a Sherlock Holmes, more with a curiosity and open mind. Like, I don't want to punish you. I want to know what happened, and let's figure it out together, how to move forward. And I believe in one point I said, I don't know how to move forward. Like, this really hurt me. Like, can we figure out like what to do next?
Yeah.
And I think you started brainstorming some solutions of like, and ask actually, how can I make up for it? How can I make it better? What can I do? I'm really sorry. So you actually owned up to that. You realized the impact, and even just doing that kind of helped me also feel better and a little bit more supported. And you offered your support.
You're right. That was a powerful line, I thought, when I heard it, because it put the onus away from me waiting for you to say something to now we have to think about this together. So I think that was a great shift. That it was like, it's not like explicit. You're not saying now we have to think about this together. It's just a subtle way of inviting me to be part of the process.
And I think you did a wonderful job. Thank
What
you.
was in your mind, what was your plan to address or think about how to get around my continued denial of any, like I kept saying, it was all Karen. All right, maybe I said a little something, but it was all Karen. It was all Karen. I was clearly deflecting. What were you thinking about in terms of how you were going to approach that?
Yeah, I felt the deflection and it didn't sit well with me. So
Right.
I said, well, unless we actually agree this happened and you take responsibility, I don't think I can trust you anymore with this. Because whatever I say, you are going to always blame somebody else for it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember what I said. So I believe this is Karen, but you still said that. I think I tried to make it say, it can happen. We all do that. I think you're asking what was my intention with that. I felt, I really wanted to, I think I asked you a question. What happened for you that you actually shared it? Something similar, didn't I? So,
yeah, you tried to give me an out. You said, is it possible you said it like during lunch?
and you actually did say, yes, yeah, I said it's something generic.
Yeah, to give me an out. I think that's important the entire time. I think you continue this theme of you didn't try to guess why I did something. You didn't try to guess that like you were trying to hurt me or I was trying to hurt you or I was trying to, I don't know, I just wanted to share gossip. You didn't care about that. You were just focusing on this is the impact of the behavior, which I think is really important because we can't guess what somebody's intent was. And it almost doesn't really matter. The fact is, it still hurt you, regardless of whether my intent was to help you. Like I was trying to provide context to why your work is suffering, or I was trying to be hurtful. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the behavior was hurtful. So that's what we need to focus on.
And another thing comes to mind, like assumptions. I try to put all the assumptions about, like in the first scenario, I already made assumption, judgment, sentenced. You are horrible as a friend. You betrayed my trust, completely gossiped about me. I'm done. I don't want these friends like this, right?
Yeah.
In the second scenario, I even mentioned, we've been friends for years, so it doesn't sound like you. So I kind of remembered all the good things. Is that like in a character of Chris, that he would be gossiping and being mean and try to hurt me. So I said, but yet I'm still hurt. So these are the facts. This is the impact on me. Now, what was happening for you that it happened? So kind of coming from curiosity versus the judgment. And giving you space actually to share versus me attacking you. And giving you a space actually to share how it was for you.
That's right.
In a way, not respecting you in that first scenario. I didn't give you the voice to even share how things were for you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that was great. So yeah, I mean, I think that was it. I don't have any other thoughts because I think that covers everything.
Oh yeah, and then really the looking at how do we calm down ourselves first. I think one more possibility could be when I come really angry at you. And then what would be some ways you could calm yourself down? Would it be even possible within that same moment?
I mean, that would require me to be really emotionally intelligent,
The Jedi Master.
right? I have to be like, whoa, Lucy, you're upset. Let's relax. Let's think about this. Let's calm down.
Mm,
What's going on here?
mm,
And I think there's an element also of, how does somebody receive that negative feedback or that critical feedback, or respond to that, right? It's
yeah.
because it's natural. Like no matter what you say, I'm always going to feel on the defensive. It's just
Mm,
how strongly that defense comes up.
yes. Yeah.
But I'm always going to feel on the defensive. And so it's a matter of also how do I better manage my own emotions so that I can hear what the feedback is or what the accusations in this situation are,
Yeah.
and doing some reflecting. Is it true? Is it not true?
Mm. So what I'm hearing in all the communications, there's always two sides, and both
That's
people,
right.
the more they manage their emotions, the better they can remain calm, both of them, doing their own emotional regulation, the better the conversational outcome actually can be.
Right. Right. Whenever I do trainings or coaching, people always ask, what if the other person isn't following these rules? We have to assume they're not. We have to assume the other person doesn't know any of these strategies of how to hold a difficult conversation. Otherwise, it wouldn't be difficult. It would be a very quick conversation like, hey, I noticed you did this. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I know I messed up. Sorry about that. Like it'd be very easy. All conversations would be an easy resolution if everybody understood
Was
all this
calm,
stuff.
understanding,
Yeah,
kind, never assumed the worst.
exactly. Everything would be resolved in a 5 minute conversation.
Unfortunately, that's not the reality.
Exactly, exactly.
And therefore, we have these videos. So hopefully, this is helpful for you and give you
Yeah.
some guidance or inspiration for your own difficult conversations. And if you have any questions or any other ideas for our future topics, let us know.
Thanks a lot, Lucy.
Thank you, Chris. See you next time.
So today in our role play strategy, this is something that hits home for a lot of people. It's about how to have a conversation with an older family member, a mom, an aunt, somebody about the need for sometimes maybe assisted living, for a nursing home. And this is interesting because, and Lucy and I will talk about this later, but culturally, even that has a loaded way of doing it because in Asian culture, it's not as common to want to put an older family member into a nursing home. It's very much they should come live with us. And so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that and our in Lucy's culture and my own cultural beliefs around that and as we go through it. So let's go through first how not to handle the conversation. So in this part, Lucy is going to be my mom. And so we'll jump into it, and this is how not to have this conversation. Mom, listen, here's the truth. You know I love you. You know I want the best for you. You also know driving is just not possible anymore. You got into an accident last week. You keep asking me to come drive you to the grocery store, to run errands, but I live 8 hours away. I can't be just dropping everything to come help you.
I get it, Chris. And I don't want to be any burden to you. I do want to be as independent as possible. And so, I will recover and maybe I can ask a neighbor if it's too much for you to come over to
Yeah,
see your mother.
I get it, but I think if you were, I'd feel a lot safer and happier knowing that you were somewhere where somebody could take care of you all the time. And I've looked it up to some cool assisted living places that you could still be doing your own thing, but there's people there that can help you.
I don't think I can live in the assisted living. I need my own space, my own structure, my own meals. I don't want to live with anybody, with some weird people. And I heard so much abuse is going on in those places. I don't want to be like people abusing me anywhere. I rather
I don't want
be here by myself and die alone.
Mom, I don't
I'd
want
rather
you.
die alone. I think that's gonna be best.
Don't talk like that. Come on. Listen. I know that there are places, you're right. There are places that are bad, but I looked up these places. I've got the ability to get you into a place that's pretty good that'll keep you safe.
Chris, it's why don't you come here and live here with me? I keep asking you. We have the place.
You know,
You
I can't
you
do
could
that.
move in closer to the same area. We don't even have to live in the same
Listen,
house. We're
Kaya is
family.
17.
Families should stick together. You're
I
just
know
leaving
that,
me
but
somewhere in a house with the
listen,
strangers.
look.
I
I
give
get
you
it. I don't disagree.
everything.
I agree.
And you put me in a house.
I would if I could. You know, Kaya's 17. Like, if she was like younger, maybe, but she's like 17. She's about to graduate. Like, why uproot her now? Like, that doesn't make any sense. She's about to graduate with her friends. She can go to college, and then, like, yeah, in a couple of years, maybe we can discuss that. But right now, I'm concerned about you right now.
Well, it doesn't seem like it. It's always somebody else is more important than your mother.
Mom, come on. Listen, just please promise me you'll think about this, because I would love to be there more often. You know I can't.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you my opinion. I really don't want to go live in some place for some old people.
I don't know what to tell you, Mom. Like, you are getting older.
No, I don't.
You are getting older. That's the
Well,
truth.
then it is. Well, then I'm gonna be here by myself. It's okay. I rather have my independence. I understand your concern, but it's at the same time I have the right to live my own way.
Yeah.
And if I get into accident, well then I'll deal with it. Or
Yeah. Let's cut it there.
okay.
Let's cut it there. Boy, I think this is such a
I was
personal topic.
challenging.
We're all working through some personal stuff here. But what do you, from your point of view, from the person on the other side, what didn't go well there?
So I would take first responsibility for myself here, and and I think I was really giving you a hard time there, and kind of one of the strategies that some people may use out of place of worry or fear, kind of the guilt tripping. I've done everything for you. I gave you my life. I've done so many years for you, and you cannot even do this little thing for me. Come once in a week to visit your old mother.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to be on the receiving end. And it's also very difficult for the person because there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of grief, especially if they lost their significant other. Then it's a huge, major life shift, life change. And especially if they also see their, friends, peers, maybe be getting disabled or even dying. It's very difficult. And in our society, we don't have the resources to support them as much yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to change. And those resources that are there, they have already the bad reputation for abuse. So there's a lot of fear, lots of uncertainty, even grief for that person. And one of the ways that, people have the tools is the kind of guilt tripping. So I think that was kind of, I used that tool, unfortunately. And then another thing that I see that I did that didn't work well, actually, I really didn't acknowledge you. You kept saying, how much you care, how much you actually love me, and that it's coming out of place of care. And really, you want me to be safe. And I didn't acknowledge that. I was just saying the same thing. No, you actually don't care about me. Because if you did care, you would act the way that I want you to act, which is you move closer to me and you do what I want you to do. So kind of, it was more about my needs rather than yours. And I
Yeah.
even didn't want to think about that or think about other people's needs. It felt like I was thinking very personally, if I'm not in the center, you don't care about me. Kind of the
Yeah.
all or nothing thinking almost.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that
It's
also doesn't work in relationships.
it's so funny that you used, oh, it's not funny, but it's great that you used guilt trip, because that's exactly what my mom would have said.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end, so I
Yeah.
could channel.
What
I
about
didn't.
from my end? Like what did I say or do that wasn't helpful?
That's a great question. I would say being there with me a little bit and helping me maybe explore my own fears
Mm,
and kind of helping me reconnect to how is it for me, and maybe having me feel like I'm being heard, also validating my concerns.
mm, yeah.
Um, and so that I didn't hear that, and that naturally created that defensive and like, you don't hear me, so you don't care about me,
Right.
and I need to keep saying what I'm saying. And basically both of us were saying our thing and nobody was listening to the other,
Right.
validating the other.
Yeah. And I think this is why family discussions are always so hard, as we did with the Thanksgiving one, because there's already such a huge long history of dynamics and relationships that are there. And I don't know about you, I don't know about other people. I'm assuming other people feel this way, but it just gets much more heated quicker internally. Like my heart starts beating faster sooner than if I'm talking to a coworker. It like I'm on a knife's edge right away.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for myself, we've had some intense, I moved basically on the other side of the globe. It was not just the different state, but me
Mm,
personally, I moved to the other side of the world. So it's even more difficult to come visit.
mm, yeah.
And so for us, the conversation can also get more intense. Or when my dad passed away, it was also a very difficult time for our
Mm,
family. And how do we deal? And the emotions get more intense.
that's right.
And my mom also wanted me to come and live with her. And it's a major life decision. I would have to uproot myself when I've basically lived my whole adult life, basically here in the States.
Right. Yeah.
So it is challenging to navigate. And what I know about myself, I had to really prepare myself for those sometimes difficult conversations with my family members. So I know I am in a place where no matter what they say, I'm able to stay calm and
Mm,
really do my own grounded
mm,
practices to really
yep.
stay grounded, because I know if I don't, or if they catch me in a time when I am all stressed out by my own other stuff and I'm not able to kind of maintain that calmness no matter what, or that kind of being in that loving space and validating,
Mm,
empathetic, then things get actually worse and both of us get hurt.
yeah. That's true. So why don't we try doing it a more effective way? I'll approach it in a more effective way, doing those things of listening and engaging. You might still be defensive. I think that's par for the course for any hard conversation. We're always going to be on
Yes.
edge,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm the one facilitating it, it's incumbent on me to try to get us both back to baseline and back
All right.
to even so we can have that conversation. So let's take two. Let's see how it goes.
That's right.
Hey, mom, how are you feeling today?
I have a little bit of back pain, Chris. It's
Uh,
after the car accident. It really hurts, but
yeah.
it's okay. I'm trying to get through the day. Thank you for asking. It's nice
Yeah.
of you.
Is it worse today than it was yesterday?
It's a little better today, I think, but with the weather, it's not helping at all.
Yeah.
Cold weather.
I know it's cold. Well, listen, Mom, I'm glad we have a chance to chat. I want to really chat with you about something that I know. Listen, I know there's no easy way to say this, and it's hard for you to hear. It's hard for me to talk about. I'm concerned
Oh,
about you being able to live in that house by yourself.
I, I hear you, Chris. I've been there in this topic before. You know my opinion. I'm really not feeling it to go live into some strange house. I've lived here in this house my whole life. It's
Mm,
with your father. We created this family here. There's so many memories. I know where to go. I know where to find things. I have my own space. Living somewhere I don't know anybody. It
yeah.
where I hear all these weird stories, people being abused. I don't want to. You want me to be go in that environment? I would rather here be by myself. Yes, sometimes I get hurt, but it comes with old age.
Mm,
But at least I have the peace of mind that nobody is abusing me, and I know where I am, and I have my own space here.
yeah. I mean, Mom, I hear you and I agree. I don't want you to be hurt by accidents or by other people. I don't want you to be hurt in general. Yeah. I mean, I know like that house is important. Like that's where I grew up, obviously. I guess I just care about you, right? Like I want you to be safe. I don't want you to be hurt and you're not close by. I can't get to you if something happens. So like if you fell, like I can't get there easily.
Yeah, but it's your choice. You decided to move away.
That's true.
Um,
That's true, I
so
guess. I mean, you could argue the job was here, but
so you can always choose to come back if you're that worried about me.
I know. And you know, I wouldn't mind it, but Kaya's like in 11th grade. She's got a couple of years of high school left. I don't want to uproot her now. You know how that like you agree, like you don't want to uproot your life. And she's got her friends here, she's about to graduate and once she goes to college, yeah, like yeah, we're much more mobile. We can be wherever we want to be. But these next 2 years are hard for her to hard would be hard to ask to have her move somewhere else. Um, and I get
Yeah,
it. You want to keep doing your own thing. You want to be able to
yeah,
to get around, and you're concerned about your
yeah.
safety from other people.
You don't want to move. I don't want to move either.
Yeah,
You gotta understand. It's also uprooting for me. I've been here my whole life.
yeah.
I don't want to go some strange place. I would rather stay with my family. I was with my old parents till they died.
Well, let me ask you this: what can we do where you still feel safe, you could still do your own thing, and you are safe? There's somebody there are people around that are able to keep you safe and kind of respond if something happens.
I mean, I have phone. I can call 911 if I need to, if something happens.
How about something other than the police?
I don't know. I don't want strangers in my house.
Yeah,
Um, I don't, that's difficult. You never know who you get. I also heard some stories about some strangers in the house.
yeah.
Can be, steal from you, rob you.
Well, is your
So,
biggest concern strangers that you don't know who's going to be working with you or helping you?
well, that's one of the concerns. And then also having somebody strange in my house,
Mm,
it's uncomfortable. I like my
yeah,
privacy here.
that's fair.
And I feel like they're looking down at me. It's like, I still want to be capable and independent. I don't want to somebody do stuff for me. I want to do it for myself. I want to still be able to cook for myself.
Yeah.
As long as I can, I want to do that myself.
Here's an idea. You tell me what you think. What about the idea of you moving near us? I know it's not
It's too
I know it's not your
far.
house, but around here, if you moved around here, you could still get an apartment near here. You could live independently. We're nearby. We can still help you, and you're not with random people.
Chris, well, thank you, Chris, for offering. That's very nice of you to, uh, looking for other ways how we could be together. And at the same time, I also have some friends here. While they're alive, I
Yeah.
still want to be with them. It's just like you have community, your
Yeah.
family there has community. I also have community here, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how about, I mean, would you be okay with if we just keep talking about, would you be open to just keep talking about like finding options to help you?
Think we can, I guess we can keep talking about it. That's fine.
Okay. As long as we can keep talking about it, because I care about you. I love you. I want to make sure you're safe and that you're cared for.
Chris, I love you too. I care about you too.
All right.
We'll find a way.
Okay. We will, for sure. All right, we can cut there.
Alrighty.
um, boy, sounds like a conversation I just had with my mom. But tell me your thoughts on that one. What went better in that one? Knowing that there's no one right way to do it, but what went better?
So, where do I start? I will start this time with you. What I've noticed, you did such a beautiful job of actually asking me questions. I would say that helped me really stay like, okay, what do I want? What is really my concern? That was a great question. Like, what is really your concern? Is it the strangers or it's something else? And that actually helped me to pause and reflect. Like, what is really about that I don't like? It's also the privacy, and also part
Mm,
of it is like I feel almost ashamed or I feel afraid of like aging.
mm,
And that's
mhm.
almost like a proof if somebody's there to help me that I'm not capable enough anymore. And it makes me feel even worse about the aging thing.
Yeah.
So actually you asking help me kind of reconnect. What is it really about? And you also validated me, and you were really actually very calm throughout the whole conversation. There was this calmness and really kind of like the loving concern. So that was also like calming. So whenever I wanted to kind of have the guilt tripping,
Yeah.
it was less desire for that, less defensiveness,
Mhm.
because you were providing such a safer space for me just to be and express myself and really feel like I'm being heard.
Mm.
And I think that made a huge difference. So I wasn't really as in a fighting like defense mode. I still was saying, this is important to me. And at the same time, you kind of really were nodding your head and kind of, so I felt you get it. You hear me, you think about it. So you didn't dismiss it right away.
Mhm.
Like in the previous one, it felt like it almost didn't land, and it's just you kept talking about this,
Yeah.
your agenda, and I was talking about mine.
Right, right.
And so I think really you did well validating and staying calm and hearing me out, and also asking questions and really not pushing me anywhere, but just having that at least a small step moving forward, at least keeping the conversation open. And actually, since I didn't feel pushed into anything as much, I was like, yeah, we can talk, it's okay.
Yeah.
It made me feel a little bit more safer to have that conversation and explore the options,
Mm.
because I didn't feel pressured
Yeah.
or judged, actually.
Right, right.
So what
I'm
about
so glad you threw in the idea that your friends were there
you?
and the support system, because I think that's in this kind of conversation, it's so important, the idea of community and support. It's a transition.
It
In these
is.
guys in these kind of conversations, it is a big transition, just like it was to leave home. It's a different transition now to suddenly be like, oh no, now I'm like losing parts of my what I've known for such a long time as an adult. And that could
And
be it's a grieving process. It's a loss.
absolutely. And especially if they're also going through other losses. So they're losing a lot already.
Mhm.
Plus, they could be losing their loved one, even their friends.
Yeah.
My mom is the only sibling left from our family, basically. She
Mm.
lost 3 siblings already. Plus her husband, plus her schoolmates.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of grieving, lots of shifts and changes, plus the physical changes that, maybe they cannot walk as well anymore, or they cannot remember as well as before. And it can be very scary and overwhelming. So plus to kind of insert additional huge change there, it could be really overwhelming for the person.
Yeah.
And so you really did a great job of validating and really being kind of empathetic there, and not
Mhm.
pushing, not adding additional pressure that they are already probably feeling a lot of that and
Yeah.
uncertainty and stress.
Yeah.
How was it for you? So I'm not just sharing how it was for me. How was it for you, Chris?
I I think it was good for me because number one, I knew what I was going to be doing, but also I think in these kind of conversations, I always talk about we always talk about like have a clear goal in mind and have like an outcome.
Mhm.
But it's also being aware of that outcome isn't always going to be like a conclusion. Sometimes the goal is we just need to have continued conversation. We're willing to continue to talk about this as opposed to no, we're not talking about this. This is a roadblock. We're never going to discuss this. Stop talking about it. It's more, can we just at least open the dialogue to keep talking about it? And just being flexible, knowing that there's not going to be a one size fits all. And like, until I know truly what's bothering you or what the issue is, we can't solve the problem. So, like, yes, you're concerned about independence. Um, you're really concerned about losing your support system, losing your friends, losing kind of privacy. Those things are super important to you in addition to the independence. And if I just focus on the independence, I'm going to miss the other things that are really bothering you. So it's really, this is the heart of like interest based negotiation, just really understanding what's driving the decisions. And so if I know that, then I have to also be flexible in knowing, okay, the solution I have thought of previously might not be the right solution. And if we can think of it together, you're going to be more on board anyway. You're going to be more willing to be invested in it and move towards it.
It sounds like kind of that strategy would also give me some say in it
Yeah,
and empower me.
that's
So,
right.
so that would be kind of addressing my concern, so I could still have a voice. Which the
Yep.
fear of losing the independence is the fear of losing actually having a say.
Absolutely.
How was it for you to be on the receiving end of the first interaction, also versus the second one? Any changes that you've noticed,
Um,
if any?
I mean, the changes were clear, right? The second time you were much more calm. I think the emotion was still there, right? If we were
Yeah.
as we were talking in between, like the emotion is still there, the passion is still there. We just don't in the second one, we didn't feel like we had to talk over each other to get our point heard. You had plenty of space and I like had to fight to hold back and just listen and pay attention. But then I didn't have to fight to be heard either because you had felt heard, you felt listened to, you were able and willing to listen to what I was saying. And I
Mm.
was rephrasing it too. I wasn't saying you need to do this or you need to I know better for you. It's this is my concern also. This is my fear, this is my concern. I want what's best too.
Mm. Yeah, so in a way you also showed vulnerability and
Yeah.
were really not forcing me to make a choice right there at the spot.
Right.
So it wasn't like a power struggle. It was
Right.
more
Right.
compassionate, like really building that relationship, continuing. And actually that allowed me also to share, my love for you, my care
Mm-hmm.
for you as well, to put myself in that space rather than in the previous scenario. I felt more like hurt, not
Mm-hmm.
not heard, um, hurting that alone, that nobody cares about me, rather than
Right.
being in that space of feeling connected.
Right. Right. And I think that's I think a misconception of these kind of conversations, or what people even listen to this podcast for, is what are the magical set of words that I can say to convince the other person to agree with me? And really, it's about difficult conversations are about creating deeper connection, deeper relationships, so that we can solve the problem together in the future.
So it's not really about the specific words or techniques, but really creating that connection. And yes, there are techniques and tools,
Yes.
but there needs to be also an intention of really having that empathy and compassion for the other.
Right. Right.
So that actually the emotional impact or kind of take away from that conversation, the conversation can add emotionally also, and in relationship wise on a better note, even when they actually don't reach a decision, let's say, but maybe a small decision, a small step moving forward, just like let's just keep the conversation open, just like a
Yeah.
small mini step where
Yeah.
both parties say like, yes, this is something that we can do, both of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's no coincidence. The second scenario, we ended up saying we love each other. The first one didn't end like that. It was like, all right, I'll talk
No,
to
I
you
don't
later.
want to talk to you at all.
So, yeah, it's really about deeper relationships. And I think it's interesting. You and I both come from a culture where it wouldn't be normal. I mean, maybe it is more so nowadays, but it's not typically historically normal to say, let's go to a nursing home now.
No, not at all. Yeah, both my grandparents and my mom actually still lives in the house that my oldest sister got, so she lives there. They built additional floor, luckily it's a big house, so they can have private space. It's separate, yet they're still connected. She's just like a next floor above my mom, so if my mom needs anything, my sister and my actually other sister right there is too, they are there.
Yeah.
So at least that elevates some of my guilt and concern, that I know she has the support.
Right.
If she didn't, who knows if I would even be here in the States. I don't know, because in my culture also, I don't know anybody from any of my friends that would put their parent into a nursing home. So actually, when we were preparing for this conversation, I said it's really difficult for me because I haven't actually been in that environment, even culturally.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we recorded, I was sharing with Lucy that my grandmother, who has been living with my uncle my entire life, she recently in the past couple of years was put into a nursing assisted living because she has dementia. It's just becoming unsafe. And it was quite the transition and journey for my whole family to even just to come to terms with that. But I think it's interesting to see how it changes over time. And I think I think it's important to adapt and be able to just meet needs and what is the best way to take care of people's needs and keep them safe. And they had a nurse in the home for quite some time before that. So it's something that they had to really come to wrestle with.
Yeah, and I think what makes these conversations even more challenging, it's really because they're emotionally charged. It's with people we've
Right.
known our whole life,
Yep.
and that we have sometimes complicated relationships with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not just having a conversation with somebody at work that maybe we will leave the job and we'll never have to see them or talk to them again.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
But this conversation might be one of the most difficult conversations with our loved one and family members.
Yeah. I agree.
And it's a topic that I think it's important to actually discuss, because with also us living longer and longer, I think this might happen actually become even a more challenging topic and more popular. I even have clients right now, even one of them wondering, my husband, he's starting having symptoms of dementia. How
Mm.
do I deal with this?
Hmm.
How do I have the difficult conversation with him when he, it's becoming also unsafe for her, because when he gets
Yeah.
triggered, he might become aggressive.
Mm. Yeah.
And now they live alone. So also from a woman's standpoint, it could be really also unsafe for the other partner.
Right. Right.
in certain circumstances. So what to do then?
Yeah.
So hopefully some of the tips, what will be some key takeaways? Hopefully we have some. I actually, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask one more question. What would you say supported or supports you in staying calm in those difficult conversations that you have?
I think preparing is a big key, making sure that I know, okay, it's going to be a hard conversation. So what do I need to do to prepare ahead of time? Do I need to clear my schedule to really emotionally prepare and mentally prepare? Do I need to practice? I have a younger brother. If I was going to have this conversation, I would talk to my brother like, "Hey, listen, let's talk this out. Am I missing anything?" Um, if I, if we had, if I would talk to my aunts and uncles to maybe prepare to see if they have any thoughts, if they agree, or maybe they're better off to have the conversation. If she has a really close relationship with her brother, maybe then I'll talk to my uncle and say, "Hey, listen, do you agree? Do you disagree?" And if he's on board, then really he should be the one. He could have a better conversation than I can. And then if I have to, I think what always works for me is just asking more questions. Like, yes, that helps in a conversation, but that's actually my way of also staying calm is that I don't have to say anything. I can just listen. If I just focus on listening, I don't have to focus on what I'm going to say next. I can just focus on what are they saying? What are they not saying? And what am I trying to hear?
Makes sense. And I did notice that you were actually more present really with me and like listening, true listening. And I think that also made a difference for me to be on that receiving end. That
Mm-hmm.
helped me to calm down also. And I'm
Yeah.
hearing also really, really part of that, staying calm inside of that conversation is also to do work before and
Yes.
do that research. And for somebody that maybe doesn't have a big family, that they don't have that many people to talk with, maybe even look at some podcasts. I wonder if there's additional really around aging, around
Mm.
what are the options actually, and get ourselves even
Yeah.
educated
Yeah. I think if
around that.
yeah, if I knew more options, that also could have helped the conversation in terms of problem solving. Like, oh, what else?
Yeah.
Here are some other options that I've found.
Yes. Sounds good.
If it's also, I'll say this: if it's a phone call, having that mute button is really helpful because then you can scream in the middle of the conversation.
I use that one too.
Yeah, just take it out. What one of the things I do when I role play or when I coach other people to role play, before we do the role play, I'll give them a minute or two beforehand to vent. Say whatever you are truly feeling, yell, scream, swear if you want to, but get it all out for like a 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then let's go into the role play.
Mm,
And I find that when I started implementing it, like people just like really felt like a weight lifted when they were like when
nice.
they started doing it.
Yeah, so sounds like really rather than holding all the unpleasant, maybe frustrations and emotions inside, really letting it out,
Yeah,
and that creates that space to actually be there with the other person.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's a great strategy. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Um,
What about you?
and also I love the mute button. I
Yeah.
think I use that in some difficult conversations over the phone where they actually don't see me, um, to just take a breath. And when all in me wanted to say no and not hear them, I kind of muted myself so I don't jump into what they're saying, but really let them speak and just take a deep breath and kind of my own grounded practices, kind of reconnecting how I'm feeling, what's happening that it's triggering me. Kind of it comes to that practice of self-awareness.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
And kind of that might not be in the moment, or if there's in the moment of really, again, like I keep saying it, getting reconnecting with our body, it could be taking the deep breath in that conversation, or focusing on something in the environment for a moment, or really focusing on something in their voice and
Mm.
actually asking, so what is it that they're telling me? What is really underneath? What kind of value, what kind of fear they might have? So
Yeah.
it could be really focusing, just like similarly with you, I also ask questions. And it also could be helpful, like putting ourselves into their shoes. What is their concern? From the
Mm.
loving perspective, rather than defending our position, really trying to understand theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else? How should we close today?
I think we covered a lot, and I think it's really emotionally charged. So, I encourage everybody listening, all two of you, if you want to share your thoughts, please like this podcast, but also feel free to email us. We'd love for you to hear from you about what did we miss? What could we add? Is there a part two we should try to add more complexity? We'd love to try it because I think the more real we can make it, the more useful we'll make it for everybody here. So let us know. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on this podcast, and let us know what else can we demonstrate or talk about, or what can you show us. If you are really good at something, let's get you on here and let's have you and show us how we should be doing it.
I love that. What's coming up for me, since we are talking about difficult conversations are kind of co-creation in a way. So we would love you to help us co-create this as well through your input.
Okay, in this scenario today, we're going to go through a personal situation, how to set boundaries with a friend who's guilt tripping you. Now, in this scenario, Lucy is going to be guilt tripping me, or just have a history of guilt tripping me, I should say, and I need to set boundaries. So Lucy, I don't know if you want to provide any context or if you just want to get into it.
That's a great question. I was thinking about, well, maybe you canceled a meeting, another meeting. We were supposed to have lunch together and you canceled on me again.
Yep.
And I am Lucy, the guilt tripper friend.
Yeah. So actually, in this situation, you should start the conversation, which is very interesting. But I think you should start the conversation. Let's say I canceled lunch.
Yes.
And you
did you cancel over a text message?
Yes, text message.
Okay. So I'm calling you back after I read your text message.
Let's
when you're
talk on the
trying to
phone.
cancel.
I'm trying to cancel. Wow, we're like in the middle of it too. We're not even like afterwards.
You are trying to cancel by the text message. So I am calling you.
Give me a call. Let's hear it.
Ring, ring,
Hello?
ring,
Hey,
ring.
Lucy, what's up?
Hey, Chris, I just read your text message that you're trying to cancel again on me.
Yeah, I know. Listen,
Chris,
I know this.
I adjusted my schedule for this.
I know,
I said
Lucy.
no to the other friends, and you keep doing that.
I know, Lucy. I feel so bad. Listen, I don't want to do this. It's just that my wife got sick. I can't meet up today for lunch. My wife got sick, so I'm just home with the kids.
Half an hour. How
Who's gonna watch the kids for half an hour?
Well, how about I come to your house?
That doesn't help the situation.
It does, because I just want to hang out with you. The quality time is important. Like, what are friends for? To hang out. And if we don't hang out, it's like no friendship. So I think maybe that's what's happening. You really don't want to be friends with me anymore. And
no, Lucy, no,
just,
come on.
It makes me feel so bad, and I think you just don't care anymore about this friendship. And maybe I just I'm gonna, maybe we should not be friends anymore. I think you were telling me that anyway.
No,
So
Lucy, come on.
We've
been
not
friends
gonna
for like
meet
30 years. We can't. We've been friends for 30 years. You know that's not
and
the
you've
case.
been ignoring me, like this friendship is nothing for you. To you.
I don't know what to tell you. It's just hard because, kids are hard, Well, I guess you don't know, but you know from watching me, it's hard. It's just busy,
But still, it's important not to leave your friends behind. And
I know. Listen, I feel bad. I don't know what else you want me to do.
You
I feel bad.
I don't feel like we're friends anymore, and you're really not a good friend to me. If that means, because if you were a good friend, you would never do that, and you would find the time. So I think, I need to find better, like friends that actually take some time for me, and they don't cancel constantly meetings.
on me.
But
Like
I'm
it's the
talking on the
fifth
phone with you right
time. Like
now. I'm talking to you on the phone right now.
yeah, but it's on the phone, and we were supposed to have lunch together. And you know how important this is to me, to
Yeah,
spend
I
the time
know.
together. So I think it's yeah. Let's just okay. Let's cancel them. If you don't want to even see my face, okay, fine. I will just we'll see. Maybe we'll meet some next year or so.
Ugh, Lucy, don't be like that.
I
Come
think
on
it's
now.
fine. Alrighty.
Come on now.
I think I need to go. Bye, Chris. So I hope we didn't cause a lot of stress to our listeners right now.
Yeah.
Hearing this, maybe it reminded you of some conversations that some people in your life, be it friends or family members, parents, siblings, could have had with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So what didn't work when we
What
summed it
didn't
up?
work? Um, I was just on the defensive the entire time. I was just on the defensive. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't even know how to set boundaries because I was just trying to make you feel better. So I didn't know how to like just say this is what's important, this is what's not important. I was just kind of following the flow of the conversation. But I think also that's the reality. If you're not used to
Yes.
being assertive, or if you don't have the words on how to do it,
Yeah.
or if you've never done it before or not very much, it feels weird, and it does feel a little bit like you're arguing. Um, and it can feel like you're arguing, especially if you're not used to that. So
Absolutely.
so it's easier to just say, but no, you got it all wrong. It's okay. Don't worry. I still care about you. It's still a priority. Like I just end up I just keep being on my back foot and just kind of trying not to fall over.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that doesn't work because you continue to feel upset, and we are still in conflict, and we're not going to solve that by doing that.
No. Yeah. And what didn't work on my side, I wasn't actually even trying to understand your position. I had my belief, this is what you do, and if you don't do the way I want, then I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
And nothing is going to change it unless you change.
Right. Right.
And so I was quite close-minded and upset. And
Yeah.
I didn't look for other solution than you actually saying yes to what I want.
Right. And here's the thing though, if you were like, that's great. If you were looking for how to solve the problem and being, doing all the skills that we talk about on this podcast, then relationships would never turn out like this, right? Because the person who is more passive wouldn't have to suddenly learn how to like stand up for their boundaries or stand up for their values. You'd be
Right.
able to continue facilitating the relationship.
Yeah.
So this is the thing I always often tell people is like, you can't assume the other person is playing by the same rules. You can't assume, like, what if they don't know like how to ask good questions? Like, yeah, they don't. Nobody, like, if they did, then you would just have a regular conversation. Life would be great. You have to assume they don't know how to do that, and you have to facilitate the dialogue, and you have to take the lead. And that means you'll have to say things to set some boundaries and set some ground rules at times, and that may not feel comfortable at first.
I think that's such an important point. And funny thing, I had to stop myself. I already wanted to say, I hear you, I understand you. I had to
Yeah.
stop myself to keep the role. So I did want to be understanding. And now, as you were sharing, actually, I realized because I also wanted to change into a friend that is not guilt tripping, but I realized actually that might not help the listeners. And so I need to
Yeah.
stay the guilt tripping friend, but let's see how you're actually going to set
Yeah.
boundaries this time.
So we're gonna do it again. And so this is the interesting thing. This is my prediction. I don't think the outcome is gonna be different. I think the outcome will be the same. I think what's gonna happen for me as the person setting boundaries is I'm gonna feel more at peace with over time with setting those boundaries, as opposed to just be taking a ride on the emotional roller coaster.
Makes sense, yeah. And I might be still upset, and by especially more upset because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get what I want.
Right, exactly. But we'll see. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it'll work just fine. Maybe it'll be amazing transformation.
Alrighty, let's see what happens.
So we'll do the same thing. You can call me first.
Alrighty. Ring, 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 ring.
Hey, Lucy. I'm so sorry I had to cancel. This is terrible timing. I know.
Trace, I cannot believe it. You cancel like for the fifth time. It seems you really don't care about me as a friend, and I'm really hurt and upset by that. It's it's like you're not being a good friend. You're being a horrible friend. It seems like if you really cared about me, you would never do that. Cancel so many times on me
Yeah.
and cancel over the text message. I mean, we've
You
known
know
each
what?
other
You're
for
right.
30 years.
You're right.
This
We've
is
known
how
each other
you
for 30
treat
years.
somebody
Why am I
like
doing
that.
that? You're right. We've known each other for a long time. Why am I canceling over text?
Well,
That's
so
whack of
then
me.
don't do it if you understand like this is not the
I
right thing to
apologize.
do.
Listen, I apologize. You're right. Here's the situation is my wife is sick and I've got these two kids home today, and so it's just something I can't get like I can't leave them alone for the
Oh, so your family
lunchtimes.
is always everybody else is always more important than me, and I get it. You know what? It's fine. I think our friendship is just no longer your priority, and that's fine. And at least we had the conversation. Good to know. And maybe we reconnect. In 10 years, or
Oh, that hurts.
it's
Lucy,
yeah,
that
it
hurts to hear
does. So
that.
you feel the hurt that I feel, but it seems
Mm,
like it doesn't hurt as much because it doesn't change your behavior. And so I just need to leave. I think
mm.
so. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Lucy. It's tough. I know. It's I think it's just the unfortunate reality that I live with now is that like I have to juggle lots of different priorities. I
Oh,
know that we took a loss. It took us a long time to schedule just this one.
yes, I
I'm
had to
happy to
cancel my
find time.
work. I
Oh
prioritize you
no.
over making money. And you know that I'm in a
Oh
situation
no.
I need to. When
Yeah.
I don't work, I don't make money. And yet I prioritize our relationship over that.
Yeah.
And you don't, and that really
Well,
hurts.
well, let me ask you this. My wife's on they were able to prescribe her some medication. Are you around this weekend at all?
Yeah, I don't know because what happens, I change my plans again. I have some plans for the weekend, but I change it, and then you tell me last minute, you send me a message, don't come because something happened again. So how
Yeah,
can I even trust you because you keep changing plans so much?
I know, but and I can't predict 100% certainty that my wife will get better, but I know that she's on medication, so at least she's on her way to getting better. How do you feel about coming over for dinner on Sunday with us?
Well, okay, I can do that. I'm still a little upset and hurt.
Yeah, I get it.
But
I get it.
please don't cancel on me then, though, because that would mean the end.
Yeah. And can I ask you a favor, Lucy?
Okay, what?
I I appreciate and I acknowledge I put you out. I hurt your feelings because I did do this and you had to take time off. So I get it. And like that's really disruptive because you own your own business. So like your time is very valuable.
Thank you for understanding. Really appreciate you saying that.
I get it. It Here's the reality is we've been friends for a long time. And when I hear you say a lot of those things about how I don't care or how I am just not caring about your time or you as a person, that's hurtful. That's hurtful to me, right? Because I've been with you for, friends with you for a long time. I do care about you. I've supported you through a lot of things. And so I think that's hurtful and not unfair to me as well to hear those things from you.
Wait a minute. So I am the person that is hurt here, but you're telling me I'm the bad person here? If I'm understanding correctly, that basically you cancel on me, but you tell me that I am the wrong, that I'm in the wrong.
I'm not saying you're in the wrong. I'm saying you're in the right to feel hurt. You could certainly feel hurt
Well,
because
I do feel hurt and
I did
upset.
cancel. Yeah, you can be hurt and
You
upset.
did.
I'm just saying that the way you expressed that to me was was hurtful and disrespectful to me.
So
And I'm not saying you shouldn't express it to me. Wonder I'm just hopeful we can find a different way to communicate, right? That's a little more respectful to both of us.
yeah, I mean, it felt disrespectful to me when you canceled over the text, so I just
Yeah.
returned back to what you were giving to me.
Well,
And
that's what I'm saying. Like, I would love to find a way for
okay,
us to be respectful of both
okay.
of each other, right? Like, so I
Well,
shouldn't be canceling over text. fair.
True,
You're right.
true. You shouldn't be canceling. Like, also, that's
Right.
part of the, So if you didn't cancel, we wouldn't even have this conversation.
Yeah.
Everything would be fine.
Yeah. And I just appreciate that if we're not also you're not also yelling at me that I don't care, that I'm being disrespectful, and that I'm just
It's because I'm a
you know
passionate person. So when I feel
I
something
get
strongly,
it. That's fine. You can be passionate. I don't, that's why I'm good friends with you, because you are passionate about a lot of cool things, right? It's just in this situation, you're using it in a way that's very disrespectful to me.
well, this is the way I am. So if you want to be my friend, this is what I come with as a package.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should keep talking about that, because
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Okay. So we're on for the Sunday. You said Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday night. Okay, what time?
Yeah. Let's do 6.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty, I'll see you then, Chris.
Yep. And we'll keep talking
Thank
about
you.
this for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Cut.
Whew.
All right, Lucy, you take a breath, because I'm
It,
not upset, but
it
you were like
was
amped up
it
the
was
whole time.
challenging. I had to channel some people that I've known,
That
or
sounded
that
like a
people that
real
I talk to known.
I was gonna say that
Um,
sounded like a real personal you just working stuff out.
it didn't feel great to be in that role for sure to me.
So then let's dive into it. I mean, from your perspective,
Mhm.
what worked better? I think there's still things I could have done better, but what worked better that time for as me trying to set a boundary?
Kudos to you for being able to validate me and showing me some empathy and even apologizing, kind of giving. So sometimes when I hear some people say, clients even, well, I feel if I do that, I'm gonna lose power and it's gonna get even worse.
Hmm.
And so it takes courage, even in those situations, especially to even be in that space takes courage. And I would say self-regulation, self-control, not to go back into the fighting, not to absorb their energy, their anger, and be on the
Mhm.
defensive, but really being from a place of empathy for them there, even when they don't show actually empathy. I think that was very powerful. And so it took some of my power actually. And so I had to power myself to,
Yeah.
okay, what do I need to say now? So I
Yeah.
stay in that role, but it made it more difficult for me to stay in that role because I felt like even the energy, it's kind of like, okay, when I heard, yeah, you're validating me, okay, some of the anger dissipated.
Yeah.
So it had calming effect.
Mm.
So well done. Well done also, I would say you are problem solving and you gave me, okay, so you're right. I canceled. What about Sunday? So you gave me other option. And that also made me feel like, yeah, actually he doesn't want to hang out. It was just really about that. And so that also was additional thing that helped me shift a little bit
Yeah.
and be, even though I still try to be very difficult, so we show for our listeners, even with these people, how you want to navigate that. But
Right.
it made it more difficult to be upset at the same level as the level that I
Mm.
started with.
Yeah. I think people are always surprised that how powerful either just apologizing or just acknowledging somebody's right about something, the other person is right. Like, you're right. Like, suddenly, like, the wind goes out of their sails. Whatever argument they had, they're like,
Exactly.
yeah, I am right for lots of reasons. But like, they were
Yeah.
expecting a fight. They were like amping themselves up. And like,
And
just to be heard, like, yes, you're right. Absolutely. You make a great point. They have nowhere to go because they're like, I guess I win.
yeah, it's almost the Aikido, like the enemy is waiting for the
Yeah.
hit, and there was no hit. You said, yes, okay, you're right. Yeah. Um, and
Yeah.
it almost scared myself because I know even then I can use it actually against you. That's the other move. that
Yeah.
some of our listeners might also experience, that even that's the fear, when they give them something, right, it's going to actually come back again, even
Yeah.
worse.
Well, well, I appreciate that you use that back. Like, why are you saying that I'm the bad guy? It actually gave me, in my mind, I like that because it gives me an opening to say we both have to work things, as opposed to like you are the problem. I don't have to like
Yes.
feel uncomfortable by saying you're the problem. No, we have a communication issue we need to work on here.
Yeah, well
If I
done.
like, otherwise it sounds like I'm lecturing you, and that doesn't feel great for anybody.
um and that's another of what doesn't work, when then they argue who did what. But you actually
Yeah.
did wonderful again. It's how do we, not it's your problem, it's my problem, how do we solve our communication, how do we solve it so both of us can be happy,
Mm.
so our friendship can work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And offering suggestions, actually, and being in that more receptive space rather than the defensive stance.
Yep.
Well done. And actually we finished the conversation on much better note, I would say.
Oh, good. Good.
A little better.
A little
Not
bit
much
better.
better
Yeah.
probably, but a little better.
Yeah. A couple of things to note for the listeners is when I tried to focus whenever I was telling Lucy what to stop doing, I focused on what effect it had on me, as opposed to the words she was using. Like, I was trying to be as specific as possible. I just couldn't remember the exact words she was saying, but I was trying to focus on the impact it had. I think that's the more important thing. That's the easier thing to grasp onto. Like, hey, that's hurtful to me. That's disrespectful to me.
Yes, really, really sharing actually your experience.
Yeah,
And
because
also encouraging me to have empathy,
mm,
additional empathy
yeah,
for you.
right. I think a lot of people get caught into like, you're doing that because part of me, I wanted to say, hurt people, Lucy. So that's
Sure.
not fair that just because you're hurt, you should be hurting me. Like, that just turns into an argument of like, how do you know what I'm thinking? Like, who do you think you are? Like, getting into that intent of like why I think you're doing it, that goes into another argument that is
Absolutely.
unproductive.
True.
Just focus on the effect that it's having, and they can argue, but it's a lot harder for them to argue your own personal experience of how it's you're experiencing
Sense.
it.
So that can be a very powerful tool to use in those conversations, the difficult conversations, when we share, okay, this is happening, this is the situation that's happening, this is what I am perceiving, this is what it means to me, this is how I'm perceiving it, this is the impact basically on me.
Yeah.
And it could be even a request,
Yeah.
making a request, just like you did. Could we actually talk about it and find out a way moving forward how we can communicate better? So the impact is a little bit different. So we can still enjoy being friends,
Yeah.
rather than me feeling disrespected in this friendship,
Right. Yeah.
or both of us then ending up feeling upset.
Yeah. Exactly. And as we were role playing that, I was thinking, I know there's a question that a lot of the listeners are going to have is, why am I still friends with you? Why am I even trying to find another date to hang out with you? Why do I care about our communication? Why don't we just end the relationship? I think it's a valid question. And this is
Yes.
my thinking. In the scenario, we've been friends for 30 years, and I wouldn't have been friends with you without a reason. There must have been a reason that we've been friends for 30 years, right? Now, if you and I have been only known each other for like a year, couple of years, and you're acting like this, I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't hang out. You're right. You're right. Maybe we won't reschedule. Maybe I won't even bother putting the effort in. But if we've been friends for 30 years, there's something going on there. We've seen each other through ups and downs, in this scenario at least. So we've supported each other through things, and you're close to my family, and I'm close to you. So in my vision of this scenario, there's good enough parts of the relationship where I need to salvage it and try to repair it as much as possible. And maybe you are doing that. Maybe you've been doing this whole time. Maybe it's worth us re-examining. Like, are we good friendship? Like, am I meeting your needs as a friend? But also, we also have family members that are kind of like this, right? Like, we
Absolutely.
have families like my mom's a little bit like this, and I'm not going to just stop talking to my mom, even though some people will say, stop talking to your mom, cut off contact. That's not always the solution either.
Or let's say with ex-partner, let's say for married couples that have children
Hmm.
together.
I have children, yeah. You can't. You have to have a good working relationship for
Yes.
the sake of the child or
And that
children.
could be really difficult to navigate. And so boundaries really are so important. And for some listeners, I don't know if to share it here with listeners, but I think that also is important, even though the term is often and the label is often misused too, or even used as a tool again to hurt others. And that's the narcissism.
Yeah.
And so dealing with a narcissist when one of their techniques to manipulate others is guilt tripping, could be. And so really being able building that skill to set the boundary, and if this is with people that either we work with or we for some reason need to be connected with, how do we really build that distinction, knowing that is this really something that I should feel guilty about, or my needs also matter in this case.
Yeah.
So really also it's about us pausing and being self-aware and self-reflective in those situations. We could even reflect after. You probably, if that's family members, you probably had a history of that. It could be even talking with a friend or a therapist or coach to help you recognize in this situation with this particular person, is that guilt justified or not? And actually, I need to learn how to express my needs, how to protect my needs, how to know that my needs matter.
Yeah.
And really be, because you've mentioned even boundaries can be uncomfortable, and especially if we grew up in the environment where our needs were not considered important, it could be very difficult and challenging for somebody to have these conversations with anybody. And sometimes what happens, even the friendships were from the, let's say if in case of friendships, could be from years back, and the person changed, and maybe they did some therapy on them and work on themselves, and now they're realizing, oh, this relationship, this friendship actually is not healthy. It is actually a harmful friendship for me. It's draining, it's stressing me out. And so really checking in with their needs and what actually works for and is supportive and healthy and nourishing for their life, and where they are at, and maybe that's the healthiest choice then, to disconnect the friendship.
Right.
So recognizing and sometimes really separating ourselves from, and knowing which needs and our needs, and you've done it well in that conversation, looking at how both of us can figure this out together.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Great point.
not easy. Not
Not
easy.
easy.
These kind of conversations. Yeah, and I think it's also important for people to understand being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive,
Yes.
right? I don't have to yell at you or talk over you. It's really about I'm setting a clear boundary, and I want you to have your boundaries too, and that's fine. And I'm just gonna say what my boundaries are.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are uncomfortable about setting boundaries. Could be also connected with the past, that they were punished maybe, or they got really pushed back. So they learn to be people pleasers. And so for people pleasers, even at work, setting boundaries can be extremely difficult thing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah. And so if you are one of the people that is more on the people pleasing side, and maybe you have friends like that, you could start with what is the smallest boundary that you could set, and maybe start even role play with your friends and see what are the things that you could say in that conversation, and what kind of boundaries and needs you have in that relationship, and maybe that can give you some pointers.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I love that idea. That's great.
Oh, and also we have the difficult conversation checklist for this one that might be helpful, especially for these scenarios.
Yeah, check it out in the links. We'll put in the link so you can
We'll
download
put
it.
there. Exactly.
For sure. Any other last thoughts, Lucy?
Oh, well, if you have questions, please let us know anytime. will be happy to actually either make a role play around it or create a mini information episode about that, how to address it.
Absolutely. And so again, thanks for joining us today. Lucy and I, we're coaches. I'm also a licensed therapist. If you're interested in checking out our work, you can check us out on LinkedIn. You can subscribe to this podcast. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. I think that's a lot of these examples come from friends, families, clients, people who just reach out just because they're real life scenarios. We want to help you get through your real life scenarios. So reach out, let us know how we can support you.
And it is possible to make a change. We've seen it many times with our clients, with ourselves and our journey. So there's definitely hope, and there are tools to support you.
Hey, welcome. And this week we're going to talk about how do married couples talk to each other and get the other person to do their share of the household chores. So in this week, interestingly enough, of all the role plays we've done and all the practice, this is the first time Lucy and I are going to pretend to be a married couple doing that age-old problem. One of us is clean and one of us is messy.
And I am the messy one here in
And
our
Lucy
scenario.
is the messy one. And I want to be really clear is that we talked about this for a while. We know that stereotypically the female partner tends to be seen as more clean and neat, and the male partner is sensed as more messy. Well, I actually have a couple of friends who they're the man in the relationship, and they are the clean ones, and it frustrates them that their wife is really messy and doesn't like cleaning. So we figured we would draw from real life inspiration for this one and just act out what it could look like this scenario. So we're here. We have 2 kids, 5 and 2 years old, and so we're just gonna really get into it and get into an argument. Well, I guess we won't argue too loudly, but we'll certainly get into it a little
Kids are
bit.
sleeping.
Kids are sleeping, so so yeah, let's get into it. Let's see how not to do this conversation at all. All right, Lucy. Can I talk to you about something that's been on my mind?
Yes, honey?
Here's the reality. This house is a mess.
I know, we have 2 kids. What do you expect?
I know we have 2
they're
kids.
2 and 5. They're small kids.
I know.
See how much they run around the house all day long.
Believe me, I know. I'll clean a room and they'll like mess it up within 30 seconds.
See, you know how it is.
And here's the problem. I'm the only one cleaning in this house. Right? That's not fair. And I'm not saying that you need to do all the cleaning because that's not fair either. I agree we should be splitting it evenly. This is the problem. Right now is not even. Right now I'm doing all the cleaning. And most nights I'm doing all the cooking. So
Well, Chris,
I
I
don't
have
know.
2 kids to take care of. It's we have 2 kids to take care of, and yeah, you do that, and I'm grateful you do that. But with the cleaning up, it's like never-ending story there, because you clean it one moment and they mess it up within 30 seconds it's back or even
because
worse.
that's
And
life.
so why to even
Of course.
like do that? I don't have the time or energy, and
Why do we pay? Why do we pay our mortgage? We
hard
pay
for
our
me.
mortgage this month. Why do we pay again next month?
Well, it's different because it's building an asset that we can then sell. So it builds on value, but
Okay,
cleaning
fine.
up when
Fine. Then what
it
about our
doesn't
electric
build
bill?
value at all.
What
Like
about our
at
electric
least we
bill?
use it. We use it. We use the electricity. At least I have the joy of I can see in the kitchen when it's dark.
Don't you
So
want to
I
see our
can
countertops? Don't you want to
oh
see our hallway, the floor of our
yeah,
house?
but
Are
I
you
don't
like
want to be completely exhausted and there's nothing else I'm doing in my life rather than clean, clean, clean. And it feels like there's nothing else I would be doing than cleaning. And you know that it takes extra effort from me to clean it up, especially with the
But
kids
if you
running
just
around.
clean
I
a
have to
little bit,
focus.
Lucy, babe, if you would just
It's
clean
stressing
a
me
little
out.
bit every time, we could do this faster. Because right
It's-
now, what am I doing? I'm the one doing all the cleaning.
Well, you do it so well. It seems it's relaxing for you. For me, it's stressing me out. I have to
It's
focus,
not.
and then the kids like mess it up again. It's really difficult. So I think it's normal to have a messy house with kids. That's how I grew up. And I think that's completely normal.
Life is hard.
It
I don't know what to tell
is,
you.
yes.
Like, we
I
have
think
to
that's
just
the
do
thing
it.
we can agree on. It sucks. It's
It
hard, and I think
sucks.
that I think till the and even when they're gonna be teenagers, probably there's gonna be still. So maybe for like we just need to accept for another 20 years we're gonna be living in the messy house till they
So
leave
then
for
what are you gonna
college.
do for this house? You're not cooking, you're not cleaning. What are you gonna do for this house? You gonna go out there and
Well,
mow the
I
lawn, do the yard
what
work?
about the laundry? I'm doing the laundry. You know how much laundry they just make mess just every time they eat. They go
Look,
color the
great.
stains on their shirts, on
Listen,
the pants. They go
great,
outside.
great
There's dirt,
example.
the
You're doing the kids'
socks,
laundry. I'm
your
doing our
socks.
laundry. You're doing the kids' laundry. I'm doing our laundry. So
Well,
that's an example of us splitting it up.
what about the diaper of the 2-year-old and the times all the times before since they
I'm out there
I
changing
was
diapers
carrying
too.
the children for 9 months each and the pain and the cost on my body
That was years
that you
ago.
didn't have to, but still you didn't have to carry them like how much it took out of me,
You
and the
know how
health
much I wish I
challenges that
could
I had and
chat.
the hormonal changes, you know,
You
that
know
it
how much I
was
wish I
really
could have carried
difficult
them
for
so
me.
nobody could
And so
compare.
I was days in bed and I wasn't able to do anything. So that's the thing that
Let's cut it here because we
I
can go
think
on
so. Oh
forever.
God.
I could just go on forever. This, to be fair, I don't have this problem in my marriage. It's
Neither.
we luckily do a good job splitting things up. Um, but yeah, things can get heated in these kind of because
Yep.
everybody's tired, especially. So,
Mm-hmm. Stressed
Lucy,
out.
what do you think I did well or didn't do well in that conversation, quote unquote conversation?
Conversation. So this was what not to do. I would say one of the things I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel validated. It felt like you're just saying all the things that I'm doing wrong and
Mm,
I'm not doing. So criticism. And I was already tired, exhausted, and at the same time, it seems unreasonable. They're the kids, and if it's normal for me, so what's the big deal? So that would take me to taking responsibility here for myself, what I did,
yeah.
what didn't work. And I also didn't show you any empathy. I actually was not even listening. I was completely
Mm-mm.
deflecting and
Nope.
saying, what you're saying really actually doesn't really matter. What is your problem? There's no problem. So not validating you at all, not listening,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not being open to conversation, actually communication. It was a very closed communication. I was just kept deflecting and being on the defensive.
Right. Right. Well, we were just talking past each other for sure.
Yes. So neither of us was actually listening.
Yeah. I was using a lot of you language. You don't do this, you don't do that. And
Then I started defending myself, and you do this like
right.
and this is, you know, this is normal, so what's your problem? You should just uh come to terms with it and come to peace with it. And I almost wanted to go to guilt tripping strategy,
Mm,
additional one,
yeah.
which we recorded in the previous session, one of the previous episodes.
Yeah. It's so easy to get to that. And I think, and this is what I tell young couples who are about to get married, it's very easy for it to become kind of like a suffering contest. Who's doing the most work?
Yes.
Let's start counting credits
Yep.
in a marriage and raising kids. It's very easy to get into the motive like, well, I did this yesterday, I did this and did this, and like let's start counting up everything we've done and then who's done the most work. And I think that even just that concept, it becomes very unproductive very fast.
And there could be a lot of resentment building up.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like I was taking this time to really like I brought up cooking. Like, what does that have to do with cleaning the house? Nothing.
Yeah.
But clearly it's something I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about that for a
Yeah.
minute. So it's yeah, like that resentment builds up and it just comes out randomly and
Yeah.
we
And
just
poisons
start
the
bringing up
relationship.
poisons a relationship. Yeah. Great way of saying it.
So, how do we not poison the relationship, but have a conversations that maybe even bring us closer rather than bring us apart?
How do we not poison the relationship? Just don't get married. Don't just be single and just live by yourself forever. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Don't have kids.
Well, that's
If you
one
do have to
way.
get married, yeah, if you do have to get married, don't have kids. If you have
But
to have
that's one way
kids,
of looking at that.
if you have to have kids, be rich enough to have a nanny or somebody take care of the kids so you have the energy to do stuff.
Chris, that would be for another conversation about
I know.
do we have a relationship? Do we not really have a relationship? That could be for another episode, just the conversations about that.
I know. But yeah,
Ah.
let me try again. Let me try have a more conducive relationship building conversation about how are we cleaning this house.
Alrighty. So let me see. So this time, so do we do both? That you are also having the conversation. Should I be the same or should I be also a little bit different here?
You should be the same. You just
Okay,
see
I am the
react to how I'm
same.
doing it.
I'm
Yeah.
reacting. Okay.
Like I'm gonna even approach it differently. So like
Ah,
the
okay.
whole tenor will be different than before.
Cool. Okay, let's see.
Um, so we just put the kids to bed.
Oh God, the kids got in bed. I'm so tired.
That was a long day.
Oh yeah,
Ugh.
2 year olds having tantrums. Oh my God, saying no to everything. I'm so exhausted.
If they don't sleep through the night, I'm gonna scream.
Oh my God, I don't remember the last night that I got full sleep.
Ugh.
He's just having nightmares and keeps coming to our bed.
I know, I know. Listen, I before we fall asleep on the couch, I wanted to talk about something before I forget. Is that okay?
Sure, Sonny. What do you want to talk about?
Um, listen, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be truthfully 100% honest with you. It's not a bad thing. It's
Scare me
just
a little bit.
I know. Sorry, it's not a bad thing. It's just I look at the mess in this house and I know we're both tired. I know we're both stressed and we're working and these kids are like animals, feral animals.
They are total animals.
Like,
They're dirty animals.
is there, I just want to know, is there a way we could come up with a system to be more on top with tidying and cleaning this house? And knowing that, yeah, it won't be perfect, but like I'm getting stressed out just looking at this house all the time. I feel disorganized and I feel like we would probably feel a little bit better if we just had a better, a slightly more tidy physical space around us.
I hear you. I know it stresses you out and then it stresses me out. I know whenever you are coming home, I'm like, kids, we need to clean up and he's coming home. And still it's not possible to clean it up in a way that you want it. And so I'm just getting stressed out from because I'm not naturally, a very organized person. I am very creative, as you know. So
Yeah,
I get an idea, I forget, I put it there, and then I forget. And so it's stressful for me just to keep it organized because I'm not naturally wired that way. So
I
I don't know
know.
what to do about it because you're stressed out when it's not in order. I'm stressed out because it takes me extra time to even make it in a way that plus the kids they mess it up again and so I'm asking myself what even the point. I mean, sometimes it's just living with kids. We need to accept that it's
No.
not gonna be perfectly clean all the time. It's gonna be
Right.
messy,
I
and it's
get
just
it.
I'm so tired at the end of the day.
I totally acknowledge it. I'm not gonna disagree with that at all. Like I get it. Like we can clean it and then they'll make it a mess again in 30 seconds.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think the days of us living in like a museum are behind us or way ahead of us.
Thank
So we're
you.
not in that phase.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that one.
Is like, but is there a way to have it slightly more tidy than we have
Like,
the way we have it now?
okay, like how tight do you mean?
Like I see people on Instagram, some of these moms that like organize, vacuum, mop, sweep every night. I'm not saying we do that. That's way like I can't even imagine the energy it takes to do that. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with if all the toys were just put away, all the crayons were put away. Like if everything was just put away where it belongs, you know?
I
I'm
mean,
not
I
saying
have
you
to
gotta
take.
do it again. I'm not saying you gotta do it by yourself. Like, is there a way we can like maybe even make it a family activity, like do this together with the kids before they go to bed?
Well, I had to breathe in here because you
Yeah,
almost
I
feel
know.
like my feelings are getting hurtier. It almost seemed like you are telling me I'm not a good wife enough or here because you see all these women on Instagram.
No, 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 no.
Interesting
Sorry,
what
no,
you're
no.
looking
It's
at on Instagram too, by the way. But so it really takes me there. I'm getting a
no, no,
little
no.
upset
Sorry, no.
here.
I'm not. I'm no, no. It's not that. It's really
But
just these
also people
cleaning
put on
things.
Instagram, just the highlights. Maybe they have lots of money and they have lots of help, or the
I know.
parents, the grandparents that are taking
I
care
get
of the
it.
kids. So when the kids are out of the house or the nanny takes the kids out of the house, then yes, she can take a picture of herself vacuum cleaning. But we don't have grandparents living around. We don't have enough money to get a babysitter or a nanny. So it's everything up to me. And when you're at work, it's just really difficult to
Oh, like,
to be
yeah.
with the
I
kids all day long.
well, that's why I say we both work because that's you're working a job that you can never leave. I'm not
It's
saying that you need to do this before I get home. I'm saying, is there a way that we could do it together, even with the kids, at the end of the night before they go to bed?
well, if you want to do it together as a routine, maybe we can do it. And
I mean,
then
I think that'd be a cool idea. Like, why not have the
yeah,
kids do it, and then they could
when you
learn how to tidy up
yeah,
too.
it could be a new routine when daddy comes home. We clean up together before dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess we can try that.
yeah. Why don't we
Can
try
we just
that?
watch the movie now? I'm really tired though.
We're not gonna watch it. We're just gonna fall asleep. But can we do so then are you okay with trying that tomorrow? Let's see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's just when I
let's
get
do
home,
it. I
let's
think
let's have everybody tidy up all the toys.
that's sounds like a good thing, something when I am not doing that myself, it feels a little bit better. And so we make it work together. I like that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we'll do it
Chris.
together. We're a
Yeah,
team.
sounds good.
It's us against
Yes,
these
we
kids.
are. We can do this.
All right, let's cut it
All
there.
right.
All right, Lucy, how did that one go? Like I said, I was gonna start off completely different anyway.
Yeah, it was different. So I was just following the flow. I let go of what I should do or shouldn't do. Still had a little bit, making it
Yep.
a little bit more difficult. But overall, you completely approached it differently. I didn't feel blamed. I actually really felt that you wanted to find a way, how do we, rather than, well, you're not doing this and you should do it differently. So you really had it, how can we co-create a solution together so it works and you share actually how it is for you, what's the impact that you're stressed out. And I felt you also acknowledged that yes, it's also difficult for me. Even in non-verbal clues, I could notice like, yes, you are nodding your head. The listeners cannot hear, but it seemed that you are listening actually to what I was sharing. And compared to the first scenario, that made a huge difference too. How was that for you?
Yeah, I as you're mentioning that, I did do that. I noticed that was on purpose, but I also realized I should have asked what's your experience of the space? That would have been good to see
Oh,
if
that's
you're
a
even
good
on my side at
question.
all.
Oh yeah, true.
You sort of hinted at it when you said you were creative and you like go from thing to
Oh yeah.
thing, and but I should have asked more details because clearly, like, if I'm bringing it up now, I don't know if it was an issue before that we had kids.
Mm, that's a good point. Uh, Well, when you've mentioned the museum, and when I'm creative, it could be, for some creative people, it actually feels like super clean, could be sterile, almost like, so
Yeah.
it doesn't actually feel like alive, that
Right,
environment,
right,
and
right.
it's not a little bit
Yeah.
messy. So it could be a little different also to explore like what kind of environment we feel good.
Mm.
Um, that would be for another conversation, possibly, but that's what came up for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
That also could
I
create
have friends
conflict.
who are minimalist, like not minimalist, but they just like keep a very clean and tidy house, and
Yes.
they got two big dogs and they have a kid now. And I wonder, because they live in Texas, so we don't get to see them. I wonder what their house looks like on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it can create a lot of stress because it's completely a change. And if somebody is minimalist and really likes that order and cleanliness, having kids could really
Yeah.
make some changes to that.
Yeah.
Or having a spouse that is not clean and organized and it's very creative and
Yeah.
likes to leave things around or have things out of place because it's more fun that way
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
rather than the structures
Yeah.
approach.
And you know what? And then I was thinking also like when we you and I when we talk about co-creating a solution, we also recommend people not the person facilitating shouldn't have preset um suggestions of like guiding people to a solution. Um I don't know. I feel like in this kind of situation it worked out just fine. But at the end of the day, like it was still based upon what am I willing to live with? What's the minimum that I can live with? And we're not in a business negotiation, so I'm not going to talk to you like this is my minimum that I'm willing to accept here. So it's really I just have to let you know like this is at least what I'm looking for is this minimum effort from both of us.
And that was actually helpful. So when I was kind of trying to embody that person and really feel into that person, what came up for me was, it felt really overwhelming actually to really,
Hmm.
if I'm exhausted, if I'm sleep deprived, if
Yeah.
I'm really tired and just want to physically lie down and really want to go to sleep rather than go and clean up, um, it could also feel overwhelming to clean up everything. And
Hmm.
so by
Yeah.
you sharing, well, at least this, could we do at least this little thing? That almost felt like a relief. Okay, I don't have to do everything, and actually offer that you would do it together. That was additional something that, okay, I felt it's not just up to me.
Hmm.
It's gonna be actually, and you know what? Oh, because I'm creative, that could be a fun creative activities. We could turn it into something that brings our family, even the kids, closer together and kind of a new ritual.
Yeah.
And so it turned into something that could be even fun for our family and that can help us
Yep.
that way.
That's an idea I got from an Instagram mom as well. So
Yay
these
to
Instagram
Instagram
moms
moms.
are on top of things. They got some good ideas.
There seems like do a lot of good ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would say worked in this scenario? Any tips for
I
our
wanted to point it because
listeners?
I will point this out because we talked about it last time is
Mhm.
the idea of not keeping score is so important. And so the even the way I asked it was not like I feel like I'm doing a lot of cleaning. Is more like this is a lot of stuff. Like what can we do anything about this? Is there like I don't even talk about how much effort I'm putting in because it doesn't really matter. What matters is we need to solve this problem. And
That's true. You
yeah,
need
I'm
that.
tired.
Yep.
You're tired. Everybody's tired. We all have to suffer through it. Like there's no problem with like there's no like solution to feeling tired when you have kids. There's no solution.
True.
So you just have to
It's
feel
just,
tired and just have to do it. And
yeah.
so I really strongly encourage either parents, any parents, right, is really starting to let go of that idea of who's doing more work and focusing more on let's do everything together. It's not that we're both doing 50-50. We both have to do 100%, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And
And
my
yeah,
100% could look differently than your
sure,
100%. And
sure.
can also change based on how we feel. Maybe for women, anything hormonal, or how we feel if we are sick or something happens.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it can
absolutely.
fluctuate. And having that compassion and understanding and trust for each other, rather than feeling, well, the other one is not pulling their weight on purpose, or maybe they just don't want to be responsible.
Yeah. And for my wife and I, the reason I kept using the word tidy is because when we've had these conversations in the past, we've learned that we need to clarify tidy means just organize everything, put everything away, stuff. Clean means actually getting out like a vacuum, getting a mop, getting stuff to wipe stuff down. And then deep clean is like, let's move stuff around and like get things and like, so we're like, we've through the conversations, we've learned, okay, are we looking to tidy the room or the house? Or are we looking to just clean the house?
I
And
love that.
it's helped us kind of figure out like, okay, we really just want to tidy, we can do that. Or we want to clean. I don't know if we're gonna clean everything, but we can tidy at least a bunch of this and clean these rooms.
Fantastic. Kind of creating your own rules in a way. How do we do this
Rules, shared
together?
language, right? Shared
Yes,
common
shared
words. Yeah,
language, clarity. Fantastic. Yeah. It could be even okay, so I'm gonna be responsible for the bathroom, you're responsible for
yeah,
this.
yep, exactly. Yeah,
And also being in constant communication, because one week it could be looking differently based on, let's say, how the kids are doing if somebody's sick. And
that's
being
right.
in open communication and being able to be flexible with the rules too,
That's
as
right.
long as we talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's all about that communication. End of the day,
True.
everything's about communication.
True. And I would add maybe having also something good in that scenario. I am the creative person who likes to do fun things. And actually
Mhm.
that sparks some that made the conversation around the cleanliness a little bit easier for me. And I
Mm.
actually even was looking forward to, oh, this could be a fun thing to do. So I
Yeah,
wonder what would be even a nice way to finish the conversation when you have that conversation. Really, maybe just appreciating them for listening and working with you together.
sure. Yeah, I think it depends on the relationship and the dynamics, right? Like
Yes.
if me and my wife have the conversation, if it's really like we need to like think through, sometimes we'll just be sitting on the couch like watching TV and we're like, all right, let's talk about this because we need to figure this problem out.
Yes. Yep.
Other times like it might be a more serious, so we need to get to have a hug afterwards.
Sense. Yeah.
Kind of depends on the conversation and
Absolutely. And
how
the
intense.
specific scenario and how intense it is. Yeah, the emotions intense. Also emotionally, you've been actually much calmer, much more
Mm,
calmer.
yeah,
And it
good,
felt
good.
like you are not attacking me, but really want to find that solution,
Yeah,
which helped me not be defensive and also look for and be open to what you're
that's
sharing.
right. Got to control that emotional energy.
Yes. So well done.
Yeah. Any
Any
last
final
thoughts?
words?
Oh,
Oh,
um, I have a last thought, but it's not related to the conversation. It's not like about a tip, so I wanted to leave it for last.
oh, okay. Let me see. Any last thought about the conversation? Sounds like there was empathy, active listening, co-creating that solution, partnering in a way to
Mhm.
find that solution that would work for both of them. Um, and ending on a better note. Yeah, I think I'm complete. What about you? What you wanted to add?
Hey, this is what I wanted to add. I've said a lot of things that hint that I don't like my kids. And so I want to be really clear to everybody. I do love my kids. I care
That's
about
good.
them. I'll do anything for them.
They can listen
And
to it anytime.
they can listen to this for any time and I'll tell them. And I also want to be clear for all of you that are parents, you also know the feeling that they also will drive you crazy, whether on purpose or not, they do it. And so there are a lot of times where you may not be a big fan of your kids and you're just ready to scream. So I like to verbalize that part a make it feel safe for other parents to feel that way.
Thank you for
Um,
saying that.
but I don't want other people to think that I don't like my kids, because I
Aw.
do like and love my kids.
That's very sweet of you. And that brought one other idea of it is really difficult to be a parent, especially of young kids. I have clients even that a mom that is struggling with really being a mom, 2-year-old kid, and she's really having a hard time. And it's often something that moms don't talk about, and they don't put sometimes on that Instagram how much they struggle. And it is hard to be a parent, and not only to give empathy to the other, but also at the time give compassion and empathy for ourselves.
Yeah.
At that moment, rather than judging ourselves. Oh my God, I lost it. I'm a horrible parent. Also give ourselves the grace.
Right. Exactly. So yes. So the kids are the problem.
that we love.
That we love.
Because they help
Sometimes.
us grow.
Sometimes. But thank you for listening. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You
On
can
YouTube also.
YouTube. Oh yeah, YouTube is where we're at also. Any of your other major podcast outlets, please let us know what you think, thoughts. If you have questions, if there are other scenarios you want us to cover. We're coming to the end of the season here. We're going to be wrapping up soon. So we'll also have a wrap-up episode where we'll talk about our lessons learned and talk about next steps. And if you're interested in being a part of this, if you're interested in chatting with us, please reach out. We'd love to chat.
Let us know. Absolutely. Let's be in a conversation together.
Absolutely. See you next week.
See you next week.